Hello there and welcome to Loco for Leeds. It's my channel where we talk all things Leeds United. I'm George and thanks very much for joining me today from wherever you listen to this in the world. It's very much appreciated, so thanks very much. Today it's another one of the last seven in Leeds, so we're going with that. Another week done for Leeds United, and bit of news for Leeds, of course, this week. It's been a little bit of a busy week in terms of, news and things, so we'll run through that. But first of all, we'll get to the game, on the weekend, the Saturday night football at Stamford Bridge. And what a surprise, Leeds United go to London and lose. Yes, we lost again to Chelsea, this time in London. It was 3-1, and for me, we didn't really look at the races at all. I thought the team actually looked really tired, on Saturday. I just felt they weren't quite at it. Chelsea are a top side, really top team, and for me, even though we went 1-0 up, obviously, very early on, a lovely goal from Bamford, great pass from Phillips, and then Bamford nicks it round Mendy in the goal and puts it in the net, and it's a great start for us. But even initially before that, I felt like Chelsea were kind of on the front foot. Obviously they get back in it. Giroud scores. Lax, for me, down that wing from Alioski and Harrison as well. For me, Alioski looked a little bit tired. I mean, I think they all did, well, a lot of them did. But Alioski was ripped open, to be honest with you, and he wasn't getting any help down that wing from the man in front of him. It was Harrison to start with, who did a little bit more than Rafinha. But Rafinha, again, I come on to him. He looked knackered and he was giving away the ball. For me, Bielsa got it wrong. He should have taken off Rafinha when he took Harrison off. For me, actually, he should have done it at half time. The one that I'd have seen would have been take Alioski off, put Dallas at left back, put Rodrigo in where Dallas was, with Click in the middle there, and we would have got a little bit more control. As it was, I think Dallas did eventually go back into that position. Rodrigo came on, and Rodrigo, for me, has to start against West Ham because he looked extremely hungry, and he looked quite on it, to be fair. He looked like the only player, as well as Poveda, who did look decent as well when he came on. But he looked bright, did Rodrigo. For me, he has to start probably in place of Alioski, and I'll put Dallas at left back for the West Ham game and put Rodrigo in there because he did look tricky. But overall, I thought the team looked tired. Chelsea could have had 2 or 3 more goals, to be fair. I thought Meslier did well after some dodgy moments initially. He kicked the ball out a couple of times straight to Chelsea players. He lost the ball one time, didn't he, as it rolled under his foot in the second half. But overall, I thought Meslier did well. Couldn't do anything about the goals, but defensively, all over the place. Obviously, Koch came off. Hopefully, it's not too serious, his injury. But there was, news circulating that Koch was going to be out from the start from this game. But Llorente came in, was really bad, actually, in my opinion. Was terrible. Really tricky game to get to come into, really. But initially at that stage, early on in the game, we were 1-0 up when he came on. For me, he had a nightmare of a match. He just wasn't good enough. Cooper, for me, did okay in the first half, but really, for me again, he showed his true colours, Liam Cooper, in the second half, and that is, in my opinion, he's not good enough for this division. But he was found out in that second half. The marking from that corner, especially to just let Kurt Zouma, who's one of the strongest headers of the ball, probably in the Premier League, to be fair, from that sort of situation, they just left him completely open. I mean, Cooper said he was fouled. I don't know about that. Just lets him ghost in and heads the ball in. And from then on, there's no way back for us. We weren't on it, and then Pulisic adds a third very late, in the last minute or so of stoppage time to add the gloss on the scoreline. But to be fair, I felt like Chelsea deserved it. On that game, they were deserved winners. Unfortunately, we couldn't make Lampard cry again. But there's always next time at Ellen Road, isn't there? And Chelsea will be contenders, I believe. They go top of the league with that win. I think they'll be contenders for the title this season. I do. They are very, very strong. So there's no disgrace really in losing to them there. But we forget for a time we did lead. For 20 minutes or so, 25 minutes, we led. And again, though, like I said, I feel like Chelsea were always dangerous. They were knocking on the door at 1-0. Even at 0-0, I know there was only a few minutes till we scored. But in that, I think Giroud came close, didn't he, with a header from a corner early on. And like I say, even we could have been 1-0 down even before we took the lead. And even after we took the lead, we just didn't impose ourselves on the game at all. I can't really remember Mendy making any more saves. I don't think he actually did. He hardly really had a touch of the ball, did he, to be fair? Not that I can remember anyway. So it was frustrating. It was a frustrating watch, really. For one of the first times, really, from the games that I feel like we've been completely outclassed. I feel like we were outclassed tonight. I feel like we were just not on it. And that was the way it was. The team looked tired, and that was that. I feel even like I say, even when we went 1-0 up, obviously there was a long time to go, 87 minutes plus, to go in the game. For me, we never really looked like winning it, and it was one of them games. I felt like going into it that we might be able to maybe nick something, but as it was, Chelsea's class and dominance shone through in that game, and they got what they really deserved. As it hurts to say that, but they did. We didn't deserve anything out of that game, and we move on to West Ham. To be fair, the games against Chelsea and the other top six sides. You kind of Cities, Liverpool's, Spurs, Arsenal even, and United. Man United, those sort of 6 games, 12 games really, are free hits. Whatever we get out of them, if we get a point, it's a bonus. Because we're not expected to win these kind of games. The games against West Ham, next week, that's a game where we can win it, and it's a game where we probably should be looking at winning that one at Ellen Road. And I feel like we have a good chance of that one. But these games against the top 6 sides, anything's a bonus. This one wasn't to be. We lost 3-1. We move on. But going into the other news of the week, obviously that is the end of the week, the weekend, the game. Not one to remember from our point of view, from Leeds' perspective. But going on to the Loan Watch then and staying with the games. So obviously there was in the week, again the Championship rolled on, didn't it, in midweek, with Blackburn and Barry Douglas. So we'll start with him then. Douglas didn't play at all actually in Blackburn's 2-1 win in midweek against Millwall, so he missed that one, but he did play the full 90 minutes in Blackburn's 2-2 draw at the weekend with Brentford. Like I say, Douglas, he didn't play the full 90 minutes, he played 46 minutes, so he played the first half of that game, so another half under his belt. I think he's recently come back from a slight injury. Again, what's new, he's always injured, is Barry Douglas, but good to see him getting minutes, and enjoying his football again, at Blackburn. So dropping down into League One then, and we have Robbie Gotts playing at Lincoln City. So Lincoln, they beat Wigan in midweek. Gotts played the full 90 minutes. In that one, they won, like I say, 2-1. And on the weekend, Lincoln Lincoln beat Rochdale 2-0. So Lincoln are doing extremely well at the top of the league. Well, they're second in League One at the moment, just a couple of points off leaders Hull. Got he actually didn't play in this one. He was on the bench, unused substitute for this one. So yeah, but he's doing all right there. Going also staying in League One, then, and we're looking at Swindon Town, and more specifically Jordan Stevens. He didn't play in their. Sorry, he came off the bench against Crewe in midweek. Swindon lost 4-2. Stevens played the final 17 minutes of that game, and it's a sort of reverse to Lincoln and Gotts really. Swindon are really not doing well. Over the weekend, they lost 2-0 to Gillingham. And Stevens, he wasn't involved at all. He wasn't even on the bench for this one. Swindon are really struggling. Stevens hasn't really had the game time that I think a lot of us kind of expected he might get. Yeah, Swindon are sitting just a point above the relegation zone. 20th position in League One after 16 games. They've got 16 points. So, yeah, it looks like a bit of a relegation battle for Swindon and Stevens, but he's not really getting the game time that, like I say, I think a lot of us hope that he might do, that he might get on loan there. But dropping down the division then into League Two, they also played in midweek. And we'll start with Bryce Hosanna, who's at Bradford. Bradford lost 2-1 in midweek to Cheltenham. Hosanna played 64 minutes of that game. Like I say, they lost 2-1. And then going into the weekend then, they lost 1-0 to Carlisle. Hosanna actually played 75 minutes of this one. He played in a front three, so he's been... I always thought he was a defender, Hosanna, but he seems to, at Bradford, he's playing quite a lot. He seems to have sort of gone up the pitch as the season's gone on. You know, he's played in midfield, he started in defence, now he's playing midfield. Sorry, he played midfield, now he's playing striker, you know, part of a front three with Clayton Donaldson there, who, yeah, he's been there for a bit, him, hasn't he? But yeah, he's been playing a lot, played in that one. Also in League Two is Alfie McCalmont. They played Oldham in midweek. His team Oldham played in midweek. They lost to Tranmere. McCalmont played the full 90 minutes of that one. And then over the weekend, McCalmont played and scored the winning goal against Cambridge as Oldham won away 2-1 against Cambridge. McCalmont scored the second of those goals in the 60th minute before Mullin. Cambridge got a goal back in the last minute, but they held on and won the game. Oldham are 16th in League One at the moment, so kind of mid-table. They picked up a little bit. Well, that's they picked up quite a lot over the last few games. Bradford, on the other hand, are sitting second bottom, level on points with 22nd place Stevenage. But yeah, it's not looking like a really good season for them. But Hosanna, on a personal level, seems to be playing quite a lot of football. So going then into Scotland and looking at Ryan Edmondson, who's playing at Aberdeen then. So Aberdeen, they drew over the weekend with St Mirren, but Edmondson, he came off the bench. He played the final 11 minutes of that draw. So he's, been playing here and there off the bench. He's had one or two starts. Obviously, he scored a couple of goals early on in the season, but we'll keep an eye on him and see how how he does. Going then into Europe then and looking at the lower divisions in Spain, the Spanish second division. So obviously we've got two players playing on loan there. And we'll start with Mateus Bogus, who's on loan at Logroñés, of course. Um, they lost 2-1 in midweek to Ponferradina. So, yeah, it's the lads out on loan don't really seem to be getting that much game time. Bogus came on at half time, played the second half of this game, but like I say, it didn't really make any difference. They lost the game, and yeah, it's not looking too good for Logroñés there in that division. But yeah, also in La Liga 2 is Real Mujica playing at Real Oviedo, who drew in midweek with Alcorcon. Um, Mujica or Musia, he actually, as always, surprise, surprise, Majika was an unused substitute for that game. So, yeah, no real kind of surprise there. He's barely played any minutes for Real Oviedo over the course of the season. Yeah, he's not played much at all. But yeah, so also in this week, part of our loan watch, of course, is Lawrence de Bock, who's playing at obviously at Zultwergem, and he played the full 90 minutes, I think, in their game. Yes, I think he did. Let's just see. He played the full 90 minutes in Zultwergem's 2-2 draw with Anderlecht. Yeah, so he's been playing a lot for them, to be fair. Seems to be finding his feet again at in Belgium, which is good to see, really, because obviously he didn't have the best of times at Leeds, and he's still, obviously, like I say, that's why I always include him in these reports, because he's still technically a loan player, even though we all know probably he'll never play for Leeds again. But that sums up the loan report for this week. So going on then into the news for the week for Leeds United. The FA Cup draw was in the week, wasn't it? And I said about the FA Cup last week, didn't I? Obviously it was the FA Cup second round. Some of our lads on loan did play in it, and yeah, we all were kind of like, who we're gonna get, in the end. It was Crawley Town. We go away to Crawley Town early January. Yeah, look, it's a League Two team. It's going to be a big game for them, isn't it? They're going to be bang up for it. Yeah, look, I mean, this sort of team, this sort of tie, generally kind of sends the kind of shivers up Leeds fans, doesn't it? We're going to lose. We're going to get another kind of Histon or Sutton or that kind of game. Look, I mean, to be fair, I don't really care about the FA Cup. I'd rather concentrate on the league. The FA Cup's just a bit of a distraction, particularly if we get into the later stages. But I mean, we should beat Crawley. We can beat one of, we can go to the kind of maybe the fourth or fifth round. I don't mind that. But when we get to the latter stages, you kind of heads might start to turn in the players, and yeah, for me, Bielsa will play the kids, won't he? Surely against Crawley. We should have enough to win, but Bielsa doesn't really care about these cup competitions. We saw it, when we lost on penalties to Hull in the Carabao Cup earlier on in the season. He doesn't really care. He played the kids basically on that night. He'll play the kids again at Crawley, but we should have enough for them. We don't want another embarrassing defeat, as much as I don't really want a cup run, as I'm sure a lot of, well, maybe, I don't know, let me know, do you want a cup run? I mean, some people might. But me personally, yeah, we can beat teams like Crawley, maybe, like I say, get to the fourth or fifth round and then just go out, because we're not going to, thing is, we're not going to win the cup, are we, really? It's going to be, I don't know, Liverpool or City or Chelsea or something like that. Maybe even Spurs might get a trophy eventually. I mean, that'd be the day, wouldn't it, them getting a trophy? But who knows? You never know, do you? It's not for the likes of Leeds. We've got to consolidate our position, for me, in this Premier League. We don't need the distraction of a cup run, but going away to Crawley, we have to beat Crawley. We can't be humiliated. Now we're in the Premier League. If it would be a giant killing if we were in the Championship. If they beat us. Now we're in the Premier League and we're playing like we are, getting many plaudits from many pundits and other fans alike. It would be an embarrassment. It would be a giant killing, this one. But yeah, Crawley are going to be bang up for it, so it's one for them to look forward to. But we don't want to be embarrassed by them. But that was this week. That happened, the FA Cup draw. Also this week was the news that that a lot of people had been waiting for. A lot of fans had been waiting for. Obviously, every fan, really, most of them anyway. We're waiting for when we would be able to get back. Obviously, Yorkshire has gone into a tier 3, still in tier 3, still in the most severe of lockdown situations. But, obviously in other areas, we saw it at Stamford Bridge in the Chelsea game, that fans are back in the stadium. It was very frustrating. It was nice to see the fans back, as it has been, as they were at West Ham as well, obviously in London again. It was good to see the fans back, wasn't it? But ultimately, you know, ultimately it was frustrating, wasn't it, to see, the fans in the end, because obviously we were losing. For some reason, they were doing that. They were booing or cheering whenever Llorente got the ball. Llorente, like I said, for me, had a shocking game, but they were always, doing whatever whatever you call that sound. They kept doing it every time he got the ball, and it got very annoying. Obviously, if there's away fans, if there's Leeds fans in there, you probably don't hear that, because I know that Leeds fans, now we're in the Premier League, for sure, even though we'd do it anyway, we would make more noise than they are, even if we were, 3-1 down or 2-1 down, as it was for the, obviously, at that stage, really. But yeah, it was frustrating for me to hear them, as it went on. But that was the way it went, and ultimately it's great to see fans back in the stadium going forward. Obviously, there was 2,000 there at the Chelsea games. So yeah, but going on to the news that obviously came for Leeds United this week. Leeds gave an update to when fans of what's going to happen when fans are eventually going to be able to come back into Ellen Road. It caused uproar, didn't it, on Twitter, because I don't know who decided it, but for some reason they went with the members update first before the season ticket holders updates. The season ticket holders came a day later, didn't it? And you were like, well, there was social media just went off, didn't it? Because people were really annoyed about why they couldn't give season ticket holders the information first. But here is the statement from Leeds United about the members, update for the members. So Leeds United are today able to give an update to supporters who have purchased a 2021 membership. All 2021 memberships will remain active. Due to the current COVID-19 pandemic and games so far having taken place behind closed doors, we recognise supporters have been unable to take advantage of some benefits being a member's offers. However, we are still hopeful that members will have the opportunity to apply for tickets for some matches this season, and accordingly all 2021 memberships will remain active for the remainder of the season. To compensate members for the reduced access to tickets, on top of receiving an exclusive gift pack which will be dispatched in the coming weeks, Leeds United My Leeds members will also be entitled to the following: adults £20 retail e-gift voucher, juniors £10 retail e-gift voucher. These vouchers will be emailed to each member. To ensure you receive your voucher, please follow both of these steps below by a certain date, of course. And then it goes on. We can confirm an allocation of tickets will be reserved for 2021 members where allocation allows. The size of the allocation will be dependent on the capacity available. All 2021 members will be included in a ballot to gain access to these tickets. Thank you for the continued patience and understanding. So make of that what you will. Obviously, people have had their say on social media and everything, and it did come as a bit of a why have they done this kind of thing. But for me, it kind of just, well, with the news that followed, obviously about season ticket holders, which I'll read in a minute. But I think that kind of is fair enough, really. The members, as well as the season ticket holders, get kind of priority going to a ballot, which is fair enough, really. So then the next day, obviously, the news followed, didn't it? From eventually, it came the next day, I think, wasn't it? And they gave an update to for season ticket holders as well. So that was a rollover. I will read this statement as well. Leeds United are pleased to confirm plans to roll 2021 season ticket credits over to the 2021-22 season. We are now in a position to confirm this policy due to the increased confidence that the improving macro public health situation and government policy will allow fans back at Ellen Road in the new year. All current season ticket holders will be given priority for tickets at home matches. Season tickets prices for the 2021-22 campaign will be frozen from the 10th consecutive year, and unused season ticket credits from the 2021 season will be rolled over into next season on a pro rata basis. For example, supporters who attend 5 matches during the 2021 season campaign will only need to pay for 5 matches to top up their season ticket for the 2021-22 season. We can also confirm that groups of friends and family will be able to enter ballots together, and it is our aim that all season ticket holders are able to attend a similar amount of games after season ticket holder priority, and when capacity allows, members will receive an allocation of the tickets available, again on a balloting system. Whilst we acknowledge this is not the perfect solution for everyone, we are facing unique and challenging times. We thank you for your continued patience and continued support, which is vital to the team. Further details will be released when a return to crowds at Ellen Road is confirmed by the relevant authorities. Details for seasonal hospitality customers will be communicated separately by their account managers. So yeah, it's sort of saying, isn't it, basically that it'll be rolled over to next season, and then they go into they will have first pick into a ballot, and be picked out for a share of the games, and then when the capacity allows, like it said, members will then go on to get a specific allocation or whatever. But yeah, it's going to be up. I assume it's going to be people that are based in Leeds, really, isn't it? Because obviously with the COVID thing, you can't have people travelling. But I suppose if you're travelling from in the same county, in the same tier thing, you might be all right. But obviously it'll be checked, won't it, by whoever does that? But I don't really envy them, because it'll be a long process, and I'm sure there'll be people that you can't really please and all that kind of thing. So that for me, is quite fair. I think that's quite a fair way of doing it. For me personally, I don't think we'll see fans in Ellen Road. I mean, we saw the fans, like I say, at Chelsea, but I think this is going to be a very short-lived thing, to be honest with you, with the Christmas thing coming up and the kind of relaxing rules over Christmas. I'm personally bracing myself for the fact that they'll come back after the Christmas, after the New Year, and say, you know what, it's come up again, the COVID virus rate has gone up again. So I kind of accepting that it's not going to be like that for long, really. And I don't think we're going to, unfortunately, see many people, any fans in Ellen Road for quite a long time, to be honest, which is a real shame. But as I was speaking to a Chelsea fan before the game, in my preview to the Chelsea match with Chidge from the Chelsea Fancast, go check that out if you want to. It's on the channel. He was saying he was going to wait till the crowd and everybody's allowed back in. Until it's until it's a full house, because that's then you get the atmosphere back. It's all right going, but the 2,000 fans there, or 4,000 at the most. It's not going to be the same atmosphere, really, is it? And yeah, I kind of resonated with what he was saying really there, because you want to go when it's a full house, when the atmosphere is buzzing and all that kind of thing. So yeah, that was his take on it. Go and check it out. Like I say, if you haven't already, it was a good chat with him. Yeah, unfortunately, him and all the other Chelsea fans will be happy, about that result on Saturday. But there you go, that's football. But yeah, thanks very much for listening, anyway. And yeah, have a good week, and everybody stay safe, marching on together as always, and I will see you on the next one.